Neck of the Woods here with another video. And in this video, I'm going to give you one of my own personal anecdotes. It's time for another one. True story. This is a story about a black dude who was my friend who had served time in prison, and he got out and he tried to make a change for his life, and that's basically what this video is about. So this dude I'm talking about, I'm gonna go ahead and give you his name, you know, just his first name. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. His name was Ray, and th- I met him at work. We used to work at this bookstore called Crown Books. Crown Books has since run out of business by now. But this was in 2007. And 2007, earlier in 2007, I had moved back to LA, moved back to California from Tennessee. And then I was 25 and I tried to, you know, get my life started fresh from Tennessee. And I went through major struggles and hardships unnecessarily because, bullshit I was dealing with my dad and his wife, my stepmother, just major struggles. It was 2007. The worldwide recession really took off in 2008, but we were seeing the effects of it early in 2007 out here in LA. Like jobs was like at around that year, jobs was just laying people off. People couldn't even get jobs, or whatever job they had, they got laid off. That's what happened to me numerous times during that period. So while we was working at Crown Books, man, me and him, we was cool. He was the homie. We hung out, we went to the clubs together after work. We went to Hollywood, Long Beach. He stayed in Long Beach. I stayed in LA. And we had a blast. And then Crown Books ran out of business. I mistakenly left before he did. I left that job thinking I was going to go somewhere else better, but that was my mistake. He stuck it out until they ran out of business. So both of us were struggling really bad trying to find a job. It was rough. And so this dude, I did not know when I first met him, but he had served time in the penitentiary, upstate California, Northern California. 4 years, armed robbery, assault. That much I do remember. I do remember that. And the thing about him, like most black men who get arrested and get in trouble with the law, you could tell, like, oh, you could say, oh, yeah, he looks like he'd been to prison. But this dude didn't look like he'd been to prison. He didn't look like a t-shirt nigga. Back then I just hated t-shirt niggas. So, like, nowadays I don't as much. I've kind of come off of that. But back then honestly, I was jealous of them because they was getting all the pussy. I ain't gotta lie. That was the reason. So, but he didn't look like a t-shirt nigga. He didn't look like he been in trouble. He looked like a classic man. The only way you could kind of sort of tell he might have been in prison was that he had served time. He was built. He was really muscular. He was built, big muscles, strong. But even looking at from that point of view, I didn't think that he was in prison from and just lifting weights. I thought he was just athletic, probably a football player. This dude was younger than me. At that time I was 25 and I think he was 22, 23. And but yeah, he didn't have no tattoos. He didn't walk around with that typical LA. Well, actually, he did, but he wasn't. He didn't walk. What I was gonna say is he didn't walk around with that typical LA nigga swagger or swag. But actually, he did. He just wasn't as exaggerated with it, like most LA niggas. But yeah, he. Well, this is where the story really begins. So while we was struggling, both me and him, looking for work, and I couldn't find a job, and of course I'm going through raggedy bullshit with my dad and stepmother. They always said I wasn't looking for work, that I didn't. In their own mind, they just kept on saying that when that wasn't the case, and I had no support, no moral support, no help, no nothing. And I guess he was going through some problems with his parents too. He probably wasn't getting too much support either. But what I noticed, like I hadn't seen him in months. Then we ran into each other. He still hadn't had a job, and I got a couple jobs, but then I was laid off quickly because that's what they did to people. Um, but I noticed he had this girl that, and it was a black girl. And this black girl, now I'm not going to give you her real name, but all I will say is this was a black girl. She was from England. She was a British black girl who had an African background, meaning her parents were actually black Africans. But she was born and raised in England, and then they moved to this country. So she wasn't a black American woman. But what she did was typical black American women. Now, again, I'm not necessarily trying to denigrate Ray because I got to give him credit. He didn't look like or appear or act like a t-shirt nigga. I guess I would call him a reformed t-shirt nigga because, come to find out, he used to be about that life. That's why he went to prison, try to rob people with a gun and got caught and he was sent to prison. But he wasn't about that life at this time, not at all. He apparently learned his lesson, and for any black man who's been in trouble with the law, especially young black men, should follow this guy's example. So I'm not talking bad about him just because he went to prison. But the point is, this girl really supported him. This girl really loved him. This girl was all about him because I truly believe because he was in prison. Like and we've seen this before. We've heard stories about black women who is there for that black dude who's like a criminal, a thug, a jailbird, in and out of jail, prison, always there for her man. We've heard this story. Now, this dude wasn't about that life story no more. Usually, when we hear this story, usually the guy's still in that life and they're still supporting him and they still like helping him out. He was letting her, I mean, she was letting him drive her car, even though he had a car. His car was broke down in the shop. He drove her car. She gave her money. He was he was looking for work though. He really was. He wasn't trying to be no dusty ass nigga. And it was, it was really hard to find a job. It was hard for me to find a job, but it was hard for him to find a job, in the middle of this recession here in raggedy LA that discriminates against black men. He has a felony on his record. It was really tough, but she stuck by his side. And of course, I didn't have no girl stuck by my side. Seriously, I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, she really stuck by his side. She was really there for him, and he eventually got a job. And while he got a job, I still didn't get a job. Now that leads me to the second story within this same video with Ray. How Ray being having a criminal record from prison benefited him. I just thought I'd say that. So me and him and his girl, we went to like everywhere, different places to try to find a job. We was at this mall. We went to, it was called Del Amo Mall in Torrance, California. All my LA people and Southern Cali people, listening, you know about the Del Amo Mall. So we went to the Del Amo Mall. Hey, look at this Todd and Steve right here. But anyhow, we went to the Del Amo Mall, and we couldn't find a job. That it seemingly could. I mean, that was unbelievable. That's how bad it was. You have like 1,000 stores in there. We couldn't find a job. So we walked all over that mall all day long, putting in applications. Finally, at the end of the day, and it was like around 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, I noticed there was this restaurant that was like, they was about to open up this restaurant. They had already fixed it up. They were still fixing it up. It was called Jerry's Deli, some kind of little sandwich, Subway, pasta restaurant place. Jerry's Deli. So I was like, hey, Ray, because we both were tired. I said, hey, let's go over there and get an application. They're opening up. They might hire us. So we went there and we applied. We got the application and we turned in the application. So then we went to the interview when it was time. We went together. Me, him, and his girl picked us up, picked me up too, and took him there. So we went to the interview. The lady who interviewed us was this black woman. Now, she was a black American woman, and she was light skinned. And she looked like Vanessa Williams. I mean, and this woman, she looked good for her age. She was an older black woman. She looked like she was in her mid to late 40s. She might even been in her 50s. She was thick. She was beautiful, light-skinned woman, blue eyes. But she was a black woman. She had blue eyes, very fair skin. I'm describing you how she looked. So she interviewed both of us, and again, she gave him the job, and she didn't even give me the job. And I was like, what the fuck? How did that happen? So many months later, I found out the reason. Ray told me what happened. He said that she hired, well, Ray, what he did, every job he went to, he always let the interviewer know he had a record, a felony up front. I guess that's what you do when, he knew what he was doing. So he disclosed that information to her, and she said, you know what? Man, these brothers out here, this is what he said, that she said. She said that these brothers out here, man, it's so hard on these brothers out here, especially when they get a record, man. They want to make it hard on these brothers. Man, I'm going to go ahead and give you a job, man, because you deserve a chance. You have a record. I see you're trying to do something. You deserve a chance. And she gave him that chance, and she hired him. And then it came around to me why I didn't get the job. And the reason was, and it was really simple. Oh, he's educated. Oh, he has a degree. He'll be okay. He'll get a job. That was it. When I was, me having a degree did not do me any bit of good, especially during that time. It still really hasn't done me any good, I don't think. So, yeah, that's my personal anecdote. Black women really do, they really care for that black dude who's been to jail or prison. Even if he's not, and like I said, I got to give it to Ray. He was doing good for himself, trying to. But that is all I got to say on this matter.